Man, this thing legit fits like brand new. Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode from Backyard Boys. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and lightly tap the subscribe button down below. Smash that like button to show your support, and let's get on with this video. In this episode, we are going to be working on our C63AMG, and just a little sneak peek, we do have a lot of plans for it, and the ECU is currently off the vehicle, so that may kind of sneak peek a little bit. But in this episode, what we got to do is get this piece inside here replaced. It looks pretty on the outside, but it is hiding a little bit of damage. And right over here, as you guys can see, look at that piece is missing, and the structural part of it is damaged. And I will show you guys a little bit more once this rocker panel comes off, but you can kind of see up in there. And this piece here was not easy to find, let me tell you that. That right there, and then the door shuts nice. It's completely empty right now, so the door hinges are kind of like, you know, keeping the door up. But when it gets fully loaded with the window and everything, is gonna drop down right where it should, and boom, closes how it should. That inner piece right here is actually really hard to source out, and humongous shout out to LNC for hooking it up, because this piece right here, it's not that it's crazy expensive or anything, but it's really hard to get a hold of. Why? Because if you want a quarter panel, then they cut it in the middle, so you get this front piece with the quarter panel. If you want the A-pillar, you get that section with the A-pillar. So it's kind of like weird. And if you were to get this piece exactly what we needed, if I'm not mistaken, we need to get two pieces, right?
Yeah, they force you to buy both the quarter and the A-pillar,
and
yeah.
It's like something like that grand, right?
Just outrageous prices.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And we didn't, I mean, technically, we saved the quarter panel, as you guys saw, so it would have been kind of a weird thing. Shout out to Vlad. If you guys do like any exotic rebuilds, check him out. His link will be down below. But guys, let's get this rocker panel off and start seeing what we need to do over here, because some frame needs to be pulled here and kind of get it all into spec before we do put that new skin onto this over here. Let's get that rocker panel out and start brainstorming. Alright, so I got all the paint knocked down just so we can really see what's going on, and right here we got a juicy nice impact, and I noticed that we got a really nice and sharp body line right here where I can kind of base off this to hope and get all this pulled out to where I want it to be. Right here we got the juiciest hit, and then right here is the second one. So what I'm going to do is actually weld something on right here as much as I could and get our pulling arm to pull this back. And while that's happening, I'm going to start hammering it here, just kind of see how it works, like see how the metal likes to work with me, because I know that this stuff right here is extremely strong. And I guess that's kind of the, you know, the plan to success, is just continue welding and pulling and welding and pulling and getting this as structurally in shape as we can, because I don't think my spot puller will do anything here. Just gonna get this thing pulled out to where it's supposed to be and then weld on the new piece from the top. Let's get right into it. So I got a little piece of quarter panel and it's really thin. Some of you guys may be questioning, why are you using such a thin little piece on a structural piece? Because this metal is much thicker, but I do want this over here to get welded on, and if it does rip off, it's not going to rip a hole in here rather than just rip this off, if that makes any sense. I mean, for those that are in the body industry kind of know what I'm talking about, and hopefully this works. If it doesn't, I do have a little thicker piece of metal. Let's get this welded right over here and see how this stuff likes to act. Hopefully it pulls out. I'm pretty shocked. I'll be pretty shocked if it doesn't, because it's strong, but up against that arm that we got here, this thing should get it all pulled out. And this right here is exactly what I'm talking about. As you guys see, this piece here is ruined, you know, ripped out the weld, and this piece here is completely fine. So even like, I could probably chisel this right off. There you go. And then we got one more little one that should grind right off. Yeah, we're gonna grind it right off, and this piece here is completely safe. It came out a little bit. We're gonna try and continue playing with it, and we'll see from there. We may have to use a little thicker one to get this bottom, you know, corner directly out, but it's coming out. It seems like we should get it done. So this stuff here is acting up a little bit. Meanwhile, we're gonna take a little breather. What we're gonna do is actually pull off this outer skin from this one here, and then we're gonna get back to work on that, because that metal over there is just, like I was explaining earlier in the video, that little rod, you know, I welded on, that rod is too weak. I welded on a thicker rod, and now it's just ripping, and it's not really wanting to come out because underside of it is kind of kinked. Don't really have access under there. It's kind of funky, so it's getting me a little bit frustrated. So we're gonna take a breather by pulling this piece off, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we went ahead and pulled that section off. As you guys can tell over there, it came off nice and clean. No hidden funny stuff, like no weird kind of welds or anything. Everything was straightforward. And then what we got to do right now is replicate the exact same thing what we did on that piece over here on the actual car. So we got to get that, basically get this piece taken off, and it's just gonna make the repair over here much easier if we need to hammer anything, weld anything. So let's go ahead and do that right now. There's a tiny bit of work left. This should take about 5-10 minutes, so we can continue getting all this structural part buckled out, making it look nice and neat, and then put that new piece right on. All right, now that we got the skin off of our donor piece, and then we got the skin off of the actual C63AMG that we're working on, I kind of just thought about it, and this piece over here, like this metal is just not fun to play with, and it is reinforced. You guys can tell there's spot rivets right there. One piece reinforcement, another one, and 3. That's kind of the section we need, just right about right here. I think so, or somewhere back or forth. It's just somewhere right here. So what I'm thinking to do is going to be just much more cleaner, much more professional, and none of the structural strength will be compromised, absolutely, because we're doing it right on a body line, and the structural strength, if the car gets impacted this way, is on this body line, you know. So what we're gonna do is actually gonna go ahead, and I already started picking up this seam sealer. What I'm gonna do is undrill it right over here and get this whole bottom section peeled off, and then we're gonna kind of put it back onto the original section here, and then weld a nice clean bead over here, file it down, make it look as clean, as professional. And I'm gonna go ahead and try with the welder to melt those two metals together. That way it's super strong and super durable, like super OEM. Let's get that thing pulled off right here and then see what we can do. I went ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out a little piece like this on the car, see if I can fix it out, and if I can't, like try to get just this section, and if I can't, then we're gonna go ahead and replace this whole entire piece. everything is cut out now, and I mean, look at this. Look at these structural pieces. They're all damaged inside here. We're gonna get them fixed up as much as we can, but for the time being, what we gotta do is repair this bottom section. So what I'm gonna do is get our little porter power. I'm gonna slide it in here just like this, and then go ahead and pump it up, get it to the angle we need it at, and if this starts bending up here, I can hammer from the top and it's gonna unbend the bottom. So put you guys on time lapse, do some panel shots, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys, it is the next morning here, and last night we actually got caught up doing a couple of things, but I want to show you guys quickly the progress and kind of the gist of labor, what's going on right here. We're actually using a belt file. For those of you guys that don't know what this is right here, this is a belt file. Actually, this one here is for wood, but it works great on, what's it called, metal. I've been using it for a while. I don't have any problems with it. It is super cheap. It's like 30 bucks at Harbor Freight. Anyways, we're using that because this metal here is just doling out all of our bits and it's just not working. So we're gonna go ahead and make a little bigger hole like that. And since the metal is really thick, it's actually really easy to weld these holes in, and it's gonna give us more access to kind of find that inner plate and weld it to that. That way we don't lose any kind of strength of the structural integrity. And this piece is almost off. While that is happening, I'm gonna be working on the car one over here. It's gonna be a little bit more complicated because I don't really have much room right here for this, but I'm gonna peel that seam sealer off and get this piece fully off. That way we can get that brand new one right on there and weld it up nice and tight. Let's get right into it because we still have a lot of work. We still got to put the outer skin on and get all of this stuff welded up, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get all the mudding done in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. Let's get to work. We can see that these are damaged from the impact, but luckily there's no other damage. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and straighten these out right here, get that new piece cut up, sectioned right on here, and welded right back together. I don't think we're gonna get any mudding done because this video is already extremely long. We're gonna get all this mudded in, or not, sorry, not mudded in, all this welded in, and then in the next episode we're gonna mud this and this section over here. So stay tuned, let's get this thing welded in. Guys, so we are busting through this thing. Man, it is so hard to work with this tough metal, but we got everything dialed in. Everything's looking pretty. Got all these back ends, all these support pieces nice and even, right where they should be. That way when I weld, I can weld everything back into its OEM spec. Right now we're gonna go ahead and tack weld it, make sure all the gaps are sitting pretty, and then we're gonna go ahead and lay down the beads, and then we gotta toss this top cover and make everything pretty. Let's do it. Pull these suckers out of the archives.
Damn. Ready to go snowboarding or what?
Yeah. Actually though, these would probably work way better than any glove. Man, this thing is looking clean and it's almost there. It's all nice and straight. It looks perfect. And these welds, I mean, some of the spots were a little messy. I'm not a professional welder, but I know this right here will stay there forever, and that's gonna hold like better than OEM. I can guarantee you that. But went ahead and kind of wire wheeled it just to show you guys. All the holes are welded up. These holes, if you don't remember, they were huge, just simply because we used the belt file to get that out of there. Everything else is nice and pretty. We're gonna go ahead and knock this all down with a grinder, make sure it's nice and flat, and then we're gonna get the top piece measured out, put on, and then just tack welded, because you guys already seen enough of welding for this episode. I'll just go ahead and weld it off camera, and the next episode we can start mudding, getting that done, getting this done, and the rear piece of that quarter panel completely finished. I mean, it looks really near finish, but there is still some work here, under here, and then we got some work over here, and just kind of getting the gap 100%. Let's get this thing cleaned up. Let's get this outer skin piece tacked in here, and wrap up for the episode. I'm very excited. I'm very tired. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get it. Guys, this is absolutely crazy. This is looking literally OEM. We went ahead and grinded everything down. It's looking perfect. I'm just super excited. Like, all this stuff is just, man, it's crazy how things are just coming together. You know, once we're done with this, it's literally gonna be back to OEM. We got that olive paint right over here. See, it literally matches that color. Go ahead and paint all of this in, and then I'm gonna mark the spots where it's gonna be welded to the outer skin. I'm gonna clean up those little spots with a belt file. That way I get some good connectivity with the welder. And that's just right about it. It's crazy how everything's coming together. I'm super excited. Let's get this thing ragged down, put some color on it, and then measure up that outer piece and get it welded on. Dang, dude, this literally looks OEM, and we didn't even do any mudding or anything. I mean, it's a little bit rigid, but dude, are you kidding me? This is like perfect. This looks amazing. Right now what we're gonna do is go ahead and do our final cuts on this outside skin, get it mocked up, and get that sucker welded in. I'm ready to get this thing on the road and ripping ASAP. Let's get it. Man, this thing legit fits like brand new. Like, man, these cuts are so precise. Everything's just looking beautiful. Everything's gonna fit right in here. Let's get this panel prepped out. Let's get this panel prepped out. I went ahead and repaired this little edge here, and here. It's nice and even. This is looking amazing. I'm excited. We're almost done, boys. We're almost done. We're gonna get this prepped out, spot welded in, and that is it for this. Alright guys, let's take a look at this. I went ahead and tack welded it, and look at this. Like, even that hole right there, it's literally perfect. Like, everything is lining up exactly to OEM spec. Everything here is nice and even. It's just looking beautiful. This was one of the pieces that we were not expecting because we did not see it initially when we were taking a look at the damage. This part of the car was really in shadow, and you really couldn't tell. But shout out to LNC once again for this part over here. For this cutout, it was a hard part to get, but you copped it and you hooked it up. I appreciate that. We do have a brand new build coming out this Sunday, so turn those post notifications on so you guys don't miss out on that. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a very exciting build, which should skyrocket pretty high. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. With all that being said, if you guys want to support the channel, please smash that like button. It is completely free for you guys, and it helps with the YouTube analytics. And if you guys want to cop some merch, the link will be down below. With all that being said, I'll catch you guys in Sunday's video. Peace out and stay blessed.